This week's episode of Welcome to Derry opens in black and white. We go back to Juniper Hill in 1935 as a young patient named Mabel wakes up to a nurse shaking her in the middle. Will is getting yelled at by his father Leroy about what happened in the sewers. Charlotte tries to calm him, but Leroy is too angry. He tells Will he is not allowed to leave his room without permission. Will argues his friends need him and he would never let them die like his father did. Leroy slaps him, shocking both of them. Will cries out, saying the thing has gotten Leroy too, then bolts out the door, jumps on his bike, and speeds away from the base. Meanwhile, downtown, wanted posters of Hank Grogan go up as armed mobs form. At the standpipe, Ronnie stares at a poster while Lily shows her the dagger that saved her. Lily wants to head back into the sewer to kill the thing with the weapon, but Ronnie lashes out. She calls Lily crazy and blames her for everything. The two scream at each other until Ronnie storms off. Lily leaves in tears. At the new spot for black soldiers, Dick Halloran stumbles in looking for alcohol. When he mentions he wants a nap, the others tell him they need to talk. They are hiding Hank in their storage room. Dick panics about what could happen, but Hank begs to stay hidden. Ronnie arrives with Charlotte and runs to her father, but Dick wants nothing to do with it. That night, back to the standpipe, Marge tries to change the bandage on her injured eye. Rich walks in and helps her. He is not disgusted. He thinks she looks tough. They stare at each other for a moment, then talk about how the dagger might be the only thing that can stop the clown. They agree they need to use it together. Rich helps her put on a clean dressing. Later in his dark quarters, Halloran drinks while Leroy checks on him. Leroy has new orders from General Shaw, who still wants the pillars even after the deaths. Dick sees one of the dead soldiers standing in the room. Leroy pushes him to explain. Dick says he sees dead people and uses a trick his grandmother taught him to keep them locked in a box in his mind. This is same method he will later teach Danny Torrance in Dr. Sleep. He says he cannot acknowledge the dead or they will reach him. The box stayed shut since he was 9 until it opened it. Now the dead are everywhere, but they leave him alone if he ignores them. They know things people are not supposed to know, like where to find what the soldiers are searching for. Leroy wants him to use the ability because he cannot lose anyone else. But eye patch. She likes it and jokes about going on a date. The moment breaks when the popular girls arrive and invite her over. One insults Rich. Marge stands up for him and calls herself a freak too. She scares them off with her scarred eye. Rich can only stare at her in awe. Later, Rich, Marge, and Will ride to the black spot to convince Ronnie to help them, while Lily walks to Ingrid Kirsch's house instead. She knocks but gets no answer, then steps inside anyway and wanders into the attic. She flips through old family photos. One picture from 1908 shows a bald man, obviously Bob Gray, standing with a small girl. Ingrid appears and gently asks why Lily is upset. Lily runs into her arms and mentions the tunnels. As they hug, Lily spots an old photo of Pennywise. She steps back, terrified. Ingrid asks if she saw him and says she is glad because Lily brought him back. Ingrid explains she was the clown in the cemetery photo and the one Will saw through the telescope. Her father was a carnival clown called Pennywise. When he was taken from her, she stayed in Derry, the Min. In 1962, Ingrid smiles as she tells Lily that her father came back changed from wherever he had been. She wanted to free him, so she did what she believed she had to do. She thought her father would return to himself if he saw her as his daughter again. She asks if Lily would do whatever it takes to bring her own father home, because nothing in Derry really dies. Lily slashes Ingrid and runs into daylight screaming. Back at the black spot, Ronnie refuses to return to the sewers. Will keeps trying to persuade her. Hank is proud that Will cares but will not let his daughter go. At a local bar, the lynch mob gathers to talk about Hank's location. Chief Bowers enters and gives them a tip. Later, the mob sets out. Dick drifts through the room in a daze. While Marge gets swept up watching Rich play drums with the band, everyone dances. The moment feels bright, but trouble closes in. The episode ends as the all-white mob reaches the black spot, with masks over their faces and weapons raised. Solid episode once again. Until next week, when everything will likely come crashing down for everyone in the black spot.